Market has opened with a big gap down, and the first thing that you will try to think is, it fair enough now that it does bounce back? The early RSI should have dropped to some crazy level. The daily momentum swing is down to 1. That's the single digit reading that we have, which does mean that yes, there can be a case built for a potential bounce. But any bounce now, since we've broken the trend, is going to be counter trend in nature. So how much will it bounce? What retracement will it be? Those are things we have to monitor and check out for the next few days. Will it happen immediately? But more important than that is, what did you do on Friday? How did you execute this whole thing? So a lot of people coming out at me, should have changed, you were wrong, you're right, whatever. And that requires some thinking, because when I actually wrote in October and November it was going to be a 1-year bear market, and then a lot of people said no, why 1 year? It should be a fourth wave, will bottom out at this level. I said okay, we'll review by March. And so as we came to March, I said okay, fine, maybe it's not getting so oversold on sentiment at the time being, maybe we do get a bottom. So on 19th of Feb I wrote a long short report. Nifty level was 22932. I'm surprised it was at that level. And then on 31st of March again I reviewed 2 days before tariff. I should have waited, but 2 days before tariff I said seems like the structure is still there. And so we were at around 23,300 at the open on Monday that day, closed at 23,1 something on that day. And so those are the levels where it was still bullish. But my cutoff point was that if this rise is going to be an impulse, 61% of the last leg, 22930, which is what I mentioned on my media interviews last week, and on India charts on Friday I wrote that note, because on Thursday after the tariff announcements our market was still up. So from 19th of Feb to Thursday my portfolio is still up, and I'm like, doesn't look like anything is wrong. But understanding the tariffs made it more clear, and I think that's what we are all reacting to now. And my level was 22930. So when we close below that on Friday, what do? Lock, stock and barrel out. So now this is what is execution. It's not always about you're right, you're wrong. And so people now even study Warren Buffett. They say, oh, he was always wrong, but he made a lot of money. But 50% of his trades closed out in 2 years. So he's not a long-term investor. But the things he invested in the long term made billions, right? So the point is not that. The point is not whether you're right X number of times, wrong number of times. It's about how did you execute? Did you minimize your losses when you're wrong? And did you maximize the gains when you're right? And when you're right, you can always say you are lucky, right? Because you're not always lucky, but when you are, did you really stay the course the entire way? Whether it's a trade, to ride the entire trade, whether it's an investment, to ride the entire investment, and that is where the big money gets made. So learn that rather than crib about who's wrong, when he's wrong. You are lucky. Get your odds right.